Hey, Paul McGinnis here with some thoughts for your daily walk. And personally, I've been reading through the Gospel of Matthew and would highly encourage you to do the same. Just grab a chapter a day and read through that. See how God will speak to you through the life of Jesus. And this theme keeps coming up, and it makes me wonder, and here's the question I'll ask you: how do you respond to interruptions? How do you respond when things don't go your way, or when people get themselves into trouble and you're called in to help, or where people or things that seem less important tend to crowd into your space and your time? That theme keeps coming up, and I'm struck by the fact that the way Jesus responds is very different than the way I respond. I saw it first in Matthew 14, where Jesus gets this devastating news that his friend John the Baptist has just been killed. And then Jesus tries to get away, but the whole crowd follows him. And it says he sees them and he responds with compassion. He had compassion on the crowds. And then just a couple chapters later, in chapter 18, he's telling the story about the heart of God that he is exemplifying. He says, even if a shepherd has 99 safe sheep, but one has wandered away, one has gotten himself into trouble, what does that shepherd do? Again, he responds with compassion. He changes his plans and he goes after that one sheep. And then again in chapter 19, Jesus is doing his thing and the disciples are there. And then these parents bring their children to Jesus. And I got nothing against children. I got plenty of my own. But in that day, they were seen as second class, as a little less important. They should be seen and not heard. And so the disciples are like, no, Jesus doesn't have time for little kids. But again, Jesus has compassion on them. So even when he's interrupted, even when the sheep has gotten himself into trouble, even when the crowds are pressing in on him, Jesus' knee-jerk response is compassion. He leads with compassion. And I wonder if you and I could say the same. When people cross our path, when distractions come our way, when interruptions to our plan, where people that we might even, if we're honest, feel are less important, what would it look like for us to respond like Jesus did? Well, it would look like compassion. It would look like rearranging our plans, giving some time, giving some attention, going out of our way to show compassion for the people around us. It's what God did for us. It's what Jesus did for the sheep and the children and the crowds. So who are you going to do that to today? Who is God going to bring across your path? And you are going to have the opportunity to respond in a lot of different ways. And my hope and prayer is that you will respond like Jesus did, with compassion.